We started practicing in 4 years ago.
2003.
Right.
Yeah, basically 2002 winter time we bought our first house. From that point we basically started our own practice. We just couldn't get a really good client who would give us a commission or opportunity because we don't have any family living here in this country. We are here because of school. Don't know anybody. Unless you get like small kitchen innovation or bathroom innovation, there's a really seldom chance to build a house or any kind of building ground up. So we decided to become our own client and architect, and as well as we couldn't find a contractor who could actually execute our design because they were so afraid of using any new material or new structure. So we ended up becoming our own general contractor, carpenter, and at the end the building finished and it was too weird for local real estate brokers. So I ended up actually listing the properties and sold them. So we experienced a whole nine.
The first one really was the one which we bought as the first property. It was in total disarray. It had like no insulation, it had asbestos shingles, it had lead paint all over the place, it had whatever you imagine is worse. I mean, on top of that. And so what was striking about that house was it was the smallest. It had the prime form of it was so strikingly simple that we kind of felt we could do something with it. And I guess that was the reason why we bought it. Cheap and small.
But larger amount than any other house on that block.
Right. So after we started to renovate, we kind of started to think about how we could make this one appear larger than it really is. And one way we talked about was to eliminate or to kind of use a material on the facade and on the roof which would make the building appear monolithic. So you were not able to, you know,
scale,
right.
The image photographs or yeah, actually the building is almost like one inside and one open space. And the east side is completely open, so it has actually moved.
It's kind of like this tunnel space where you come in and it's completely open from the back to the front. It doesn't have any partition in between. And that was then the concept we continued on for the second unit. We wanted to use that tunnel space to organize the second one in the back, the black box, which again has these distinct spaces from one end to the other, and it's always kind of like bullet holes. So they're kind of starting to be stacked on top of each other. And then they kind of connect by double height spaces within the volume. The first house, because, well, we were really, first we...
Christmas Eve, we moved in there. The next day, I started to demolish downstairs the kitchen. So from that point...
So we bought a really nice hammer. Yeah. We were really energetic, and like 3 days into construction, the hammer broke, and we could not lift our arms anymore.
And first week, we all ended up at the emergency room.
The first house really took us about 2 years.
Almost 2 years, yeah. With the demolition first.
We were living in the house while we did the construction, so it was kind of in April. One decided, there was like a warm day.
Yeah.
One decided to cut off the heat.
Yeah, I thought it's April, you know, the summer and spring is coming.
So and then suddenly there was like snow outside, it was freezing cold. No hot water, so we were like taking bath in cold water.
Yeah, and the next
didn't have money to go to hotel.
No, the next week we had to go to hotel, so we covered it up in temporary with the vinyl because the siding didn't come yet. We hired the subcontractors, at least the plumbers and electricians who have a license.
Yeah. The first house we kind of tried to do it all by ourselves, but we would be stopped immediately by the local authority because you can't do if you have no license to do electrical work, you need to have a license.
A basic carpentry work. We did everything together, including the plaster, drywall, painting.
Put the metal on, all the facade, all the finish work,
Yeah,
put the windows in.
When we were installing the metal siding and roofing, and there was no contractor who would deal with this material. They never saw before, and they don't want to have liability.
And then so we started. The corrugated panels, they are 4 feet by 10 feet, and on top of the roof you need to bend it over, but one is not that heavy, and I'm like a chopstick. So we hired this 200 or 320 pound guy who just comes and sits on the panels to bend them over. 20 hours, $20 an hour. The last one was the most difficult because
we already have 3 houses.
We already have 3 houses. We didn't want to intrude too much since we did all this, great openings, town spaces, see the neighborhood. So we were kind of thinking of how, and it's pretty tight not tight in New York, but tight in a suburban neighborhood. So you do have privacy issues, and we kind of started to think about how we could go around that and not, create where you see from one living room into the other and you never. So we came up with that last project, which is more a response to really twisting it by not allowing them to look in each other's bedroom or living room.
And still gain enough natural light, so the only way was having lots of skylights. But since it's 3-story structure, only the top floor could have skylight, so we decided to rotate each level. So first, second floor have 4 corner skylights. The photo at the top, the corner skylights, triangle, that's the skylights. So each floor has 4 corners. And we just try to work in our scale, and a younger generation just came out of school with a little money, but trying to make our just living space residential would make it memorable and workable.
In the end of the day, what you want to do as an architect, you clearly want to start building and become